But obviously, it was very disappointing watching the way the whole team performed. And I mean, all the way down the ladder. And the only suggestion that I'm going to have is that Billy Napier and his guys, they need to do some things differently.
Yes,
and they can choose how to do it differently, but we can't just keep on going whatever we're doing during the week, pre-games, blah, blah, blah. Just everything, all the way down the line.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Coach Spurrier will be on today. I'm not sure who the Thursday guest is. It was going to be Scott Strickland, and he has asked for a rain check. I'm not going to say anything about that. I assume there must be something going on, meetings and stuff. I hope he's not ducking me because I'm going to ask tough questions. I mean, look, we know what the answers to many of the questions are. We're going to keep watching it and see. But if it goes like this all year, yes, they'll pay the buyout. I didn't want to get into that with him. I would have been throwing him a lot of softballs because he's a good friend. But there would have been some tough questions. I don't know what's going to happen if he's going to come on later. But I like that guy a lot, and it's a struggle for him. He's done so well in everything except hiring football coaches. And this looked like a slam dunk, and it is not working out so far. But we'll talk about that because it is Overreaction Monday. So we'll see who we end up getting on the Thursday show, and I'll let you know. Let's get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five, brought to you by the Gainesville Quarterback Club. If you want to become a member, it is a cool thing to do. This week it's Eric Wilbur and his wife, Allie Peak Wilbur, who, of course, has a great podcast. We've had her on this show as well, on this podcast as well. They're going to be the guests, and I'm excited because I went 15-4 in the picks, and I missed the game last night. I picked LSU, and they had the game won. They blew it. But I got FSU tonight, so if I get that 16-4, probably gets me in the money, but whatever. It's nice to have done good on the picks. So let's get to the Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five. Again, if you want to become a member, just go to their website or just call Trish Garzon. She'll get it done for you. All right. Number one on our Gainesville Quarterback starting five, Billy Napier after the game said it was an embarrassment. I didn't agree with him on that. I thought it was more nauseating. That game. It made me want to throw up, and it made me so sad. I tell you what, you can go back and look. Every time Florida loses a football game, it rains the next day. I am telling you. It rains the next day, and it just makes you more depressed. Luckily, we were invited to go to the lake. My brother-in-law, Karen's sister's husband, and the families are out. They're all out there. And so I went out there and laid on a raft and got sun. That was, but we did discuss it on the way out there. We discussed it on the way back. We discussed a lot of things. It was bad. It was just bad. I know Billy's trying to say his special teams were great. I'm like, oh, they weren't bad. They were not a factor. Made a kick. Okay. But if that's your hanging your hat on, that's not good. I asked myself this question. And I asked some other people this question. I'm not sure what the answer is. Is this the low point? Oh, it's the low point of Billy Napier's career, okay? It's worse than losing to, that on a missed field goal against Arkansas when they had, they got a new coordinator and they ran all over Florida. It's worse than that. It's definitely the low point in his career at Florida. It may be the low point in Florida football history. And I know you're going to say you're out of your mind. But here's why I would say that. 10-1 was bad. First year of a coach. A lot of guys, Scott Brantley gets hurt. John Brantley gets hurt. Second game of the year. They didn't have much talent anyway. They'd gone south. 10-1 still bad. It's still the watermark for negative teams. I don't know. This feels worse right now. It feels worse. This could be an 0-12 team. I mean, look, they'll probably beat Samford. It could be a 1-11 team. Oh, they'll beat UCF. How do you know that? I mean, we don't even know who's going to be playing quarterback. It's not a good place. Former players are livid. I can tell you that. And that's never good when you get them all reacting to it, whether it's on the TV or on radio or on Twitter or on Facebook or on Snapchat, wherever it is. By the way, I checked on that thing that you sent me. It was 2 years old.
I saw that. I got
Yeah. Yeah.
let's see on.
Well, that's okay, though. I wanted to see it, and I wanted to be able to check it out once I checked it out. And we aren't even going to get into what it was, okay, guys? But anyway, let's but I feel like it's one of the lowest points I've ever felt as a Florida football fan. You know? I mean, I guess maybe the end of Mullins was bad, and the end of – but, I mean, it feels like Florida is on the way – to their 6th losing season since Urban Meyer left. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now, look, they could turn it around. It's possible. We'll ask Coach what he would do. It's possible they could turn it around. I didn't see anything that would make me think that on Saturday. Is Miami good? Damn right they are. They're a really good football team. I will tell you that much. But they you still shouldn't just not even show up at home. Miami's good. I'll be interested to see how good they are going forward. I think they have Bethune this week, so you know how that's going to go. All right, let's get to number 2. And number 2 will include our Campus USA play of the weekend. And this was the only highlight for Gator fans. And it made me think they were back in the game. They ran away from the receivers, so to the short side of the field. And Montrell Johnson, who I was worried wasn't going to be fast anymore because of his knee injury, certainly looked fast on that play. Might have run it again, you know. It was a good call. It really was a good call. That said, and I'm just going to say this, okay? He has to let it go. I'm not saying this week. He's going to have probably Lagway starting because of the concussion with Mertz. You want that voice in your ear. But it may be time just to say, hey, look, somebody else call the plays. Let me worry about the entire team. Now, to say he doesn't worry about the entire team all the time is unfair. He does. He's concentrated. But during the game, look, I have defended his right to be the offensive coordinator and call the plays because, again, Coach Spurrier was the best at it. And I know other coaches that do it, and the Lincoln Rallies. And I'm not saying he's a bad play caller. He wasn't good in this game, but I'm not saying he's a bad play caller. I mean, the offense was pretty good last year, but it's not working. That's the thing. It's not working. He is now 11 and I'm doing the math, 11 and 15 as a head coach at Florida. He's only won 7 games against Power 5 schools. 7 and 15 is his record. That's not good. His record against rivals is terrible. It's awful. You got to change something. You got to do something. And that to me is the most obvious one. Everybody's complained about it for all this time. I've always defended it. Look, their offense isn't the problem, but now I'm sitting here going, look, this isn't working, so let's try letting somebody else call the plays. And you just worry about the team. You worry about the defensive guys. I had a guy at the Orange Park Club say, you know, what bothers me the most is when a guy does something, comes off, the head coach doesn't talk to him because he's too busy worrying about the plays. And I kind of, again, defended Billy. And look, we're all kind of done defending Billy and defending what's going on over there. It's just not going well. We all know that. But when it's not going well, the worst thing you can do is keep doing it the same way. I think you know that. After that run, that great run by Montrell Johnson, 71 yards. Other than that, they had 190 yards of offense in the whole game. So the offense was a problem. Defense, let's just go to number 3. Let's get to number 3 on our starting 5, brought to you by the Gainesville Quarterback Club, and that is a defense that we were told was going to be better. It was going to be better in the secondary. Oh, Asa Turner's going to make a difference. They got all these other guys. The guys are older. Jason Marshall, blah, blah, blah. 385 yards passing. for Miami. Defense was as bad as normal. So does this mean we're going to have a fifth straight year of historically bad defense? Maybe. Got a chance to be. 529 yards. They forced 2 punts the entire game and had 1 sack. Did get a turnover. Yeah, got a pick. I was thrilled that they got an interception. The trouble is they lost this game the same way they've been losing games under Billy Napier, which is didn't play good defense, played really bad defense, didn't tackle well, looked like a soft team, made crucial errors that kept 2 drives alive. And, I said this, okay, these coaches are telling us they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and my question is, will they be smarter? The answer clearly is no. You can't do dummy mistakes like that. So it's hard for me to get excited about this defense that I was excited about. It only took 1 game. And again, that may be with the best offense they play all year. I don't think it'll be. I don't even think it's close. But it's a pretty good offense. I mean, the players they have and the job they have done in the portal has been pretty impressive. I mean, I thought Florida did a good job, but not a great job. They did a great job in the portal, and they were able to overcome anything Mario Cristobal might have done stupidly, which he's done in the past. Maybe he's figured some things out, and maybe he's going to be a better coach. I personally don't care whether he's a better coach or not. Let me tell you what, there is nothing worse than losing to Miami. It's worse than losing to FSU. And the bad thing is they got to go to Miami next year. Everybody let's talk about this year's schedule. Next year's schedule's worse. It's the same schedule, except you got to go on the road for all these games. You don't get the 7 home games. So it's going to be rough. Maybe it'll be a different head coach doing it. And this is the first. Look, we have been very defensive is not the right word. We've tried to talk people off ledges because that's part of our job. I mean, I think in the media is to say, look, you have to look at the whole picture, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to right now. It's all we're looking at is the one thing, and that is that one game. And it was just as depressing as it's ever been in my life. In my lifetime. I'm going to be 70 years old in November. Never been more depressed about a game. Never. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's get to number 4. Yeah, we're going pretty heavy on the Gators here. And look, I'm going to beat them up. They deserve to get beaten up. In fact, I'll get to this. Okay, number 4 on our Gainesville Quarterback Club, starting 5. It gets worse. They're going to be. Well, I was going to say they're going to be favored over Samford, but they aren't because I can't. There's no spread on this game. Okay, so they aren't technically favored over them, and unless something changes drastically, I think they'll be underdogs in every game the rest of the year. The way they played that game, they could be underdogs in all 10 games the rest of the way. It's hard to win 10 straight games when you're underdogs, or even 2 straight games when you're that big of an underdog. But, yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. And I was talking to somebody, a former player the other day, and he was saying how look, when they were, and this is a possibility. I'm not saying it's true because look, every player who's playing college football at a D1 level is getting a lot of swag and NIL money, and most of them have beautiful buildings, Taj Mahals, indoor practice facilities, nutritionists. Florida has spent a fortune on all this stuff and it ain't working. So maybe what you do is you give them socks with holes in them. And you tell them you can't practice in Gator practice jersey like Urban did. Or just come down on these guys. And that's not Billy's nature. In fact, I was told that he didn't even raise his voice in the post-game locker room. Well, somebody needed to. I'll go in there and yell at him. So, but these guys are being coddled and given stuff like no team ever has in the history of Florida football. Now, Georgia, Miami, Alabama, Texas, all these teams are getting even better stuff than Florida. But maybe just make it harder for them because easy is not working. I don't even know. But here's the problem I have. And this is, we were talking about this and I was like, You know what happens if you do all that stuff we were just talking about? They get in the portal. They go, I'm going to go somewhere where, every player at Florida, every year you stay at Florida, you get a new pair of Air Jordans. And I was told that I meant to look this up, that the market value is like $10,000 for a pair of Air Jordans. It seems a little excessive, but it's a lot. They're expensive shoes. So you get the brand new Air Jordans, and then if you stay another year, you get another pair. And so in theory, if you stay 4 years, you get $40,000 worth of shoes. And you don't have to be any good. And you don't even have to make plays. And you don't even have to have a good attitude. You're going to get them. Maybe you take those away. But then you take them away, guess what? Portal. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this whole situation. I really don't. One of the guys I was talking to yesterday was John Redmond, who played at Florida and under Coach Bell. And he was mentioned. Bud Fernandez used to give them, make it life tough on them if they weren't playing and they weren't doing it. He wasn't going to give brand new socks to somebody who wasn't playing or wasn't playing good. So, I don't know. Did you find a number on that?
I thought I did. I think I see 12.86 billion, but I'm just not like 100% sure, so I don't want to say it.
Okay.
So it might be off,
yeah. Those shoes are worth a lot of money. Okay, let's just put it that way. And you get them every time you finish your season. I don't know. But again, that's what I'm talking about. You could go to all those players right now, go, the way you guys played, we're not giving you NIL money this week. Guess what? Portal. It's just the way of the world, man. All right, and finally on the Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five, I did want to send prayers out to Ricky Pearsall. You guys all... If Saturday could not have gone any worse for Florida fans, because one of their heroes, and if Ricky Pearsall is not your hero or one of your heroes, you just weren't paying attention. I love that guy. Really good dude. But he was shot in a robbery attempt. Guy was trying to steal his Rolex. Middle of the day, too. And he fought him back. And the other guy, the guy who also got shot and is in custody. But shot went right through his chest and out his back. The good news of what came out his back. Missed all the vital organs. He's already been released from the hospital. And, it feels like things are going to be okay. But what a close call. That would have been devastating to hear that he was gone. He's in good spirits, and just hope everything works out for him. The interesting thing was that this all happened right after Ayuk signed his deal. After that was going to be, Ayuk was going to get traded, Pearsall would be stuck in there. And I wonder if Pearsall, who's been injured a lot of the camp, that was one reason they didn't feel comfortable trading Ayuk. But I don't know. But anyway, in the big scheme of things, the most serious thing, negative, terrible thing that happened this weekend in the Gator Nation was Ricky Pearsall getting shot. Losing a football game is bad, but it ain't like somebody getting shot and could have died. I mean, in theory. Guy shoots you in the chest, you could die. It's just the way I was raised to think that way. All right, that's going to do it for our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five. If you want to come to the Gainesville Quarterback Club, come on, man. I'll buy you a beer. How about that if you join? Well, if 500 people join, that's going to be hard to come up with that many beers. Anyway, all right, let's get a break. We'll come back and see what the coach has to say. Coach Spurrier will be on here. We'll also be doing Robbie Andrew, Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, and all of our other fun stuff. We got another new sponsor to talk about as well. So I'm excited. Let's go. Hey, look, it's football season. If the Gators suck, don't let it ruin your football season, okay? That's my rule of thumb. I've had to use that for the last couple of years, too. All right, that's going to do it for the first segment. We'll be back with more on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Gator fans, football season is here. What's better than seeing the Gators back on the field? Easy. Seeing amazing speakers and fellow Gator fans weekly at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Held every Tuesday night of a home game at the Best Western Gateway Grand. Enjoy happy hour, great food, valuable insights from yours truly and Andy Staples, plus notable speakers throughout the season. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings. home tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or visit thequarterbackclub.org, or better yet, just give me a call and I'll get you to the right people.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, and welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Meldon Law, also the sponsor of the segments on Meldon Mondays with Coach Spurrier. And let's talk volleyball. They won three games this weekend out in Colorado. Let's talk about something positive.
I tell you, you can always count on Mary Wise and our
right.
volleyball ladies to play with tremendous effort. And I don't know how many SECs she's won, 25 or 6, something like that. And so you can count on them to be winners. And Mary bands it, and they'll have another very good year. How big, we'll find out when the tournament starts. But they'll be in there scraping to win another SEC this year.
I think they get Allison Stuckey back for SEC, so that'll be big. But anyway, we are going to talk football because football was the story of the weekend.
Let's get golf out of the way.
Okay.
Scotty Scheffler averaged 68 this year, best ever in tour history.
Yeah.
And he won the tournament, won the Olympic gold. He's had almost as big a year as any of Tiger's.
$62.5 million.
He won $62.5 million. Yeah. Most in everything. And he's such a good guy. He always brings his baby out after the game and his wife. And, you got to give credit to him and his team. All these guys have a team of people that really help them along the way. Scotty Scheffler, right, maybe be called the best golfer in 1 year in history this year.
You think about it, he's kind of the new Tiger because he's dominated, he's won all these tournaments, and he had a car incident. So he's just
got arrested.
Yeah, so he's right there with Tiger. So
that was something.
But yeah, no, the other thing is I wanted to talk about with Scheffler is, and we'll talk football in a minute, but is that he did it the way I like to see people do it. He went out and was just the best at it and made $62 million. Plus whatever he gets otherwise, instead of just taking the money from the LIV people and not having to play hard. Yeah,
that's exactly right. All the guys that passed up the LIV money, you got to give them credit. Being on the tour, being part of American history in golf and all that, to pass up millions of dollars. Yeah, I give a lot of those guys a thumbs up. Yeah, and they deserve a little extra attention in America, which I hope we're giving them.
All right, let's turn to football. And obviously it felt almost like we were fooled. We were told things and they turned – but I told people, don't listen to what the coaches say. Don't believe what they say. They're going to say positive things. You got to wait till the game's played. You know, once I see the game, I'll know what Florida's got. And that right now I feel like it's not good.
Yeah, obviously, I am the UF ambassador.
You are, I know.
I can't be critical. You can. I can't, or I shouldn't be. But obviously, it was very disappointing watching the way the whole team performed. And I mean, all the way down the ladder. And the only suggestion that I'm going to have is that Billy Napier and his guys, they need to do some things differently.
Yes,
and they can choose how to do it differently. But we can't just keep on going whatever we're doing during the week, pre-games, blah, blah, blah. Just everything all the way down the line. And you can change. I remember back in 91, remember the 91 season? I was talking about this the other day. We clobbered Alabama, beat them 35-0. We thought we were hot stuff, didn't we? I was the worst. We go to Syracuse, a team that barely beat Wake Forest the year before. And I'm thinking, we're going to clobber these guys. Shane, let's open the game in a no-huddle offense. Their fans won't be, very loud up there in the Carrier Dome. So we tried this, that, and the other, and they ran the ball down our throats, Pat. They ran for 280 yards or something. We got beat about 38-17 or something. So we came back, and guess what? We made some changes. Yeah. And I made some changes, and I told the guys, we're going to run the ball down Mississippi State's throat in the Capital One Bowl. We played them in Orlando for some reason.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And Mississippi
that was the
State
game where that kid got hurt.
Broke his leg.
Dying.
Yeah, broke his leg. But anyway, we ran the ball and just made it a line of scrimmage game. Eric Rett ran about 35 times. We beat them 29-7. And so we practiced a little tougher. Maybe we ran more. I don't think you hit more just because you're mad at your guys. You run them more. So we ran after practice, and we may have run the stadium steps at 6 in the morning after that Syracuse game. In fact, I think we did. So you have to, enforce discipline when you have to. And all that team did in 91, they won all the rest of them.
Right.
Won all the rest of them, so we won 9 in a row after that.
The SEC.
And even beat FSU that year. But anyway, won another SEC in 91. And this guy, William James, a philosopher, he said one of the secrets of life, or one thing about life, is that a person or a team, they can alter their entire life with a change in attitude. You can change from an average bunch of jokers into a damn good team if you change some stuff. And that's what we did at Duke when we won the ACC the week before. Virginia never punted. we were in dire straits, but we changed a whole bunch of stuff, what we did in practice, meetings, and came out and played the entire game. All we did was win 7 straight and won the ACC. So whatever we're doing, and that's up to the head ball coach over there, Billy Naker.
It is.
Do something. I'm saying, do something different. I don't care what it is. Do something different.
Well, and I mean, like talked about this in the first segment, but I mean, the bottom line is this is a guy who right now is 7-15 in Power 5 games. So maybe you need to let somebody else call the plays and concentrate on the full football team. I've defended his right to call plays because it's your right. You're the coach. You decide. I sit next to a guy who called all his own plays and did a great job with it.
Does he call all the plays?
He does.
He does call all the plays.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
We called that 71-yard touchdown run, but they never used it again.
Yeah. I wish the guy up top said, Coach, remember that play went for 71 yards? Just try it one more time, please. But, that was our offensive highlight, no question. And, man, I think we got to give it to Montrell 25 times a game if we possibly can.
God, we didn't even know if it was going to play or not, until the depth chart came out, of course, dealing with a knee injury. But it looked like that knee wasn't bothering him on that touchdown run. We were showing it earlier. But, that's the thing is, like, we were told the defense was going to be better. Defense was terrible. We were told this, that, and the other. We were told the offensive line felt pretty good about the offensive line. And then in the third series, they're bringing in a guy for Austin Barber. Okay, maybe they're trying to keep him because he's been hurt a little bit, but I don't know. Look, I'm not the coach. I don't watch practice. I'm not allowed to watch practice. But sometimes I think when you're practicing only against your own guys, which you have to do, but you get a false sense of security. And you see them blocking really well, and what you don't realize is your defensive line's not very good. So, I mean, that's what you take away from that game is that this isn't a very good football team right now. However, they still, I mean, hopefully this will be a wake-up call, but it's getting late, It's getting late.
Yeah, we got a team this week that we certainly should be able to handle. And then after that, man, we could be underdogs for a whole bunch.
They will be underdogs.
Unless we turn it
right now, they
around.
would be underdogs for every game other than the Samford game. And Samford has no spread. So you can't. I think they're favored, but there's no spread on that game.
Yeah, but on the other side, let's give Miami credit.
Yes.
They are the best Miami team since Cristobal's been there.
Yeah.
I say that they've only played one, but that quarterback, Cam Ward, is a really good player. And but their defense, I mean, they played well. They were a well-coached team.
Absolutely.
And they deserved to win. and they threw that little reverse pass and missed it. The guy just put his hand out, or they could have even almost hung 50 on us. But anyway, it's history now, and the key is where do we go from here?
Yep.
So hopefully the Gator coaching staff can do some things differently and get the guys really ready to play and go from there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, there was a lot of football this weekend, and it looks like Georgia's Georgia again, which was depressing to see. Clemson, your guy Dabo is, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about that situation.
Well, Dabo, last year he said everybody needs to buy some freaking stock in Clemson football because we're going to be back. And after the game, I think all of his people said, I'm glad I didn't buy all that stock in Clemson
Cash
football. But they can still have a good year.
Yeah,
Georgia just may be that good. I mean, shoot, they're so big and strong and fast.
I mean, I didn't
Don't
think
make mistakes.
Yeah, Carson Beck wasn't anything special in that game, but their defense was ridiculous.
Oh, they're big, strong, fast, don't make mistakes, well coached, and a lot of good players. So they're going to be tough to beat this year. Alabama's going to be tough to beat.
They are.
I said that about 2 weeks ago. DeBoer and Bama, the guys, they don't make mistakes. They get ready for what they play, Western Kentucky, and they clobbered them. Mississippi had a big win. South Carolina was fortunate to beat Old Dominion.
I watched a lot of that game,
Yeah, Old Dominion quarterback fumbled on his own 5-yard line with a 3-point lead, or they might could have won that. But anyway, South Carolina's 1-0, and
The Dukies won too, right?
oh, the Dukies
Beat Elon.
Elon, yeah, they beat Elon. They played pretty decent. So two of my old teams won.
Yep. 2 out of 3.
My real team here at the Gators, we got a ways to go. But maybe this will be good for us if we do stuff differently.
Yeah,
I mean, if
absolutely.
we approach the next game, all the games the way we approach this one, we're in dire straits.
Well,
So
I mean, you talked
please
about
do something different over there, Coach.
Yeah, you talked about the changes you made. And Urban, same way. I mean, Urban, they go to his first year, they go to LSU. They lose a game where they got 5 turnovers and still lost the game because he was going 5 wide and you didn't have 5 receivers. And they just were blitzing Chris Lee. So he came back, put a fullback in, put a tight end into his offense, changed the whole offense. They go out and they do really well. And he even would say, we're going to change what butter we use on the road, because they weren't playing well on the road. That's the thing. Even change, even if it's not dynamic, it at least is different. Like you said, it's just as long as it's different, it's something else. It
Heck
can't get any worse, right?
Yeah, do something different. Pre-game meal, change what you eat there. Do something like that. Pre-game warm-ups. Did you know we go out an hour and a half before the game in pre-game warm-ups? I didn't know that till this Saturday.
Yeah.
We're out there running around in 100-degree weather. Now that's easy to change. Let's quit doing that. Let's go out like everybody else does. An hour before the game, you go about 35, 40 minutes, come in 20, come back out and play the game. But just change something here, there, and see if it doesn't help out. So my only suggestions.
Well, because a lot of people, I've seen this, they say, this just makes Spurrier the interim coach. So
Interim coach. Oh.
I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, we do want to get to a new sponsor, Oxstrong, the moving company. Good friends of mine, and appreciate Zach and everything for being. And we're calling it the Movers. And these are the movers for today. And that is, I'm going to give you a couple of baseball ones, the Astros and the Brewers certainly. But I mean, Brewers. They both have kind of taken over their divisions. But I football-wise, Notre Dame for sure. Notre Dame's win over
Big win.
A&M was it wasn't overly impressive, but they got it done. And in that atmosphere, 100-something thousand people, that's hard to do.
And I tell you what, last week I was dead wrong when I said we're at home, so we should beat Miami. Texas A&M's at home, they should beat Notre Dame. And then West Virginia, I had them upsetting Penn State. I was dead wrong on all 3.
I didn't have Vandy winning at home, though.
No, I didn't have Vandy. No. I mean, anything can happen. The team best prepared, most ready, has the best chance. That oversees the home field advantage.
Exactly,
Definitely
it does. And I think too many Gator fans were saying, it's in the swamp. We're going to win.
Yeah, well, I sort of thought that gave us a little edge because the history of both teams the last 2 years was so similar.
Exactly.
Cristobal had been there 2 years.
They were almost mirror images.
Yeah, had a losing record. Billy's been here 2 years, losing record. And so now we're playing each other, and it's at our place. But they made some improvement in personnel
Absolutely.
in the offseason.
That quarterback was good. I didn't think he would be that good. Yeah.
He's up for the Heisman now.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
He's up for the Heisman and could win it.
Yep.
Because their schedule's not too
it's easy from
terrible
here on
right
out.
now.
Yeah, we said that on the radio.
They're
They said
favored.
if they beat Florida, they might not lose another game.
Somebody said they'd be favored to win the ACC right now.
They should be.
But Clemson can come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can come
Also on the movers, brought to you by Ox Strong, Notre Dame for sure. But we mentioned Miami is definitely among the movers moving the right way, and the Southern Cal to pull that win off, and that was a 70-30 crowd for LSU. So it was like being
In
a
Las
road
Vegas.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But first of all, I give LSU fans for traveling. They travel like nobody else. They travel for baseball. They travel for basketball or football. They don't travel for basketball. Travel for football like nobody else. But for them to win, Southern Cal to win that game and played pretty good defense for once. I thought both teams played pretty good.
And I tell you what, that goes to show you, Riley went out and got him a new defensive coordinator. They only had to go across town, UCLA, to pick off their guy. And, of course, LSU picked off Missouri's D coordinator. And I thought both defenses
They
really
did play
played
well,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, they both played well.
And both quarterbacks played well, but they couldn't. They had a hard time putting points up.
And LSU had a chance to maybe get it into overtime, but they threw a couple incompletes that gave Southern Cal opportunity to go down there and win the game, which they did. So
Brian Kelly got mad after that.
He got mad.
Yeah, he was banging his fist on the table.
I tell you, we need one of our coaches to get mad. I don't know if any of them are capable,
I don't-
but I'd love to see one of them on the sideline throw his sheet down or his headset or do something.
Maybe they're like
somebody get mad.
maybe they're all like Billy, and Billy's very quiet.
He's
He's very
very
low
calm,
key.
yeah.
He doesn't. He didn't even raise his voice in the locker room after the game. And I would have raised my voice.
Yeah.
I wanted to go in there and raise my voice. I wanted to go in there and yell at everybody. But he's kind of a low key guy, kind of like Mark Richt was, But
Yeah.
Mark Richt had a little more success.
I used to think Coach Osborne at Nebraska. He's one of the great coaches of all
Yeah.
time. Back in the 90s, they actually won more games than anybody in America in the 90s. Now, they
Unbelievable.
played that Big 8 schedule, and they were so much better than all of them, except Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat them every now and then, but they're going to be 10-1. We just played 11 back then, or 11-0 almost every year. And he was always very calm.
Right.
But he had some fireball assistants I learned later. Their defensive coordinator, those guys that clobbered us in that 95 game, their defensive coach got him fired up on the sideline every game. He was a fireball, and offense had one or two guys also. So
You kind of have to have
if
that,
the head
yeah.
coach is not a fireball, you got to have somebody on
Light
that
'em
staff.
up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yelling.
All right, Coach, you got anything else?
Well, let's see. We talked about golf. We talked about
Talked about Vandy beating Virginia. I watched that
Vandy.
whole game. That was stunning.
Got to give Vandy a lot of credit for having a super game. Vatek was a dark horse to win the ACC. Somebody said.
But not only that, but
Yeah.
Vandy had a 17-0 lead and blew it, and still won the game. That was stunning to me.
Yeah. So anyway, well, we got Samford. Who'd they play last week?
They lost to West Florida,
They lost to West Florida.
38-29. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they hopefully will be ready and hopefully have a big win.
EJ's going to have to be ready.
Everybody
I think.
get a chance to play and get some momentum, and then Texas A&M next week here.
Yep.
So we got it's only one loss. We're only 0-1, and we could have lost 24-22 or something, and everybody say, oh, we almost had them, but it's history now, and now the coaches got to sweep it away and see what you can learn from it. And that's what Dabo said Clemson's going to do. We're going to learn from it and get better and get ready for the conference schedule. So that's what we need to worry about
I
right
tell
now.
people to remember this. In 1983, Miami got beat by Florida by 25 and won the national championship.
Sure did.
So you never know what will happen.
That's exactly right.
All right. That's going to do it for this segment. We'll be back with Robbie Ander for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Thanks to Coach Spurrier again for coming in. We love having him on here. And we'll be back with more here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's great to bring in Robbie Andrew on our Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. And, of course, Robbie Andrew is going to play Yes, No, Where, Maybe with me. But first, I want to get his take on the hot mess that was Saturday.
Yeah, Pat, I mean, that was so disappointing. I mean, you listened all summer about how they were going to prove themselves right, and Napier was saying he has total trust in this team, and they've built they're in place now to start doing what he wants to do. And then they go out and play maybe the worst game of the Napier era, which the start of year 3 to go out and play like that is just unbelievable. And, you know, it's shaking the Gator Nation to the core, and he's losing support quick. He
is. I think a 1-point loss people could have lived with. They can't live with not being competitive.
They weren't. The key word is competitive. They didn't compete at all. I mean, they got destroyed on both lines of scrimmage. The play calling was abysmal. On both sides of the ball, they did nothing to attack Miami's offense defensively. They never threw the ball downfield. Of course, he never had time, but it was a total, like you said, a total hot mess.
And it was hot, too. So.
Yeah, it was.
How was your tailgate?
It was good. It was real good.
Then
we got there around 11:30 and hung out. It was fun.
You had to watch the game, though, after that.
But at home, which is better than being there.
Well,
in person, to be honest.
I'll confess. That's what I did, and I won. I was a winner.
Yeah, I did, too. I did, too.
Because I got
to
watch.
I really enjoyed the game last night.
Yeah, I was definitely rooting for USC. I didn't think I would ever root for USC, but I was rooting for USC.
No. Yeah, it was an entertaining game, too. But both quarterbacks played great.
They did. All right, let's get to our Big Mills cheesesteak. Yes, no, where, maybe, or we can play this, that, and the other with Robbie. Of course, Big Mills cheesesteak brings it to you. If you go in there and you say you listen to this, you get free fries with your order. Of course, street dining is done the right way at Big Mills Cheesesteak. Number 1 for Robbie, you'd rather have Scotty Scheffler's swing than his caddy's bank account.
I'm going to give a big no way on that, Pat. And let me start by saying at my age, almost 70, his swing isn't going to do me a whole lot of good anyhow. But, I mean, here's a guy that just won $25 million for the FedEx Cup, winning that. He won, 6 or 7 other tournaments, which were $1 million more?
8. He won 8. Well, 7 of them, yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at a guy that's made close to $40 million in earnings.
No, it's 62.5 is what he made.
Okay, 62.5. So what's 15% of that? I'll take that, take it to the bank, and enjoy the rest of my retirement.
I'll take 1% of that.
Yeah, but just forget the swing. The swing isn't going to do me any good.
That's a good point.
Still not going to hit the ball far enough.
I would be. I don't know. I would have a tough call with that because I would like to swing like Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hit one iron that landed 4 feet away instead of every iron that hits 4 feet away. But he's pretty amazing guy. All right.
After he had the back-to-back bogeys and then came back with a birdie and an eagle, that's just who he is. He's such a competitor.
Whatever
which
he needs
is something
to do.
the Gators aren't.
No. All right, and that brings me to number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. Robbie, Saturday made you think it's time for you to divorce the Gators.
No, Pat, I know it's a difficult time and the future doesn't look very bright, but I'm not going to divorce the, quote, Gators. But I will say this. I have separated myself from Napier and that coaching staff. I mean, for 2.5 years, I've defended him, saying give him time, let him build his foundation, and then let's see what happens then. But whatever his plan is with this bloated staff of his, it's failing. It's not working at all. So to me, I can't defend the guy anymore. And if they fire him, well, that's just the way it's got to be. I just can't defend him anymore. So I've separated from the coaching staff and Billy Napier.
Well, I've talked about this in the first segment today, that it's time for him to quit being stubborn and get somebody up there to call plays, because clearly what he's doing with him calling plays is not working. Now you can say they had a good offense last year, but he's the coach of the team, and I've defended that right of his to be the play caller. But he is 7-15 in Power 5 games. It isn't working.
No, Pat, and all we've asked for over the years is show some improvement.
Yeah.
But they don't. They've regressed. That was the worst game of his tenure so far. I think they've gotten worse somehow. So that's just not the way to build a program. Getting worse instead of getting better.
I keep thinking about what their record might be, and I don't see where the wins. I can see a win over Samford. That's it.
Yeah, but Pat, 1-11 is definitely on the table.
It is.
I wouldn't say that 0-12 isn't off the table yet either, because with Mertz's uncertainty with his health, you may be starting a true freshman quarterback Saturday night.
Probably are.
Could go. So that could be an L too. That would put you at 0-12. What about that?
Well, I'll say this: LSU or Samford lost their opener to West Florida. So, although they have a pretty good team, I think. But they lost their opener to them, so maybe they'll.
Sad that we've gotten to this point.
I know. Ooh, I hope they're good enough to beat Samford.
Jeez.
It goes back to the day you and I retired. It's going all downhill from there.
Yeah, we talked about that again Saturday at the tailgate.
Yeah.
That since we left, they've gone down the tubes.
Well, maybe they're not asking the right questions over there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not.
All right, finally, Robbie, you're going to take Boston College and 16.5 points tonight against Florida State.
I'm tempted, but no, Pat, no way on that one, because you know how FSU is. They have a miserable game in Ireland. They'll come back, and now everything will look better, and then they'll be talking about the playoff again after this game when, the quarterback has a big game against a team that's not that great. So, Boston College doesn't have much of a passing game. So, yeah, I think FSU will get their crap together and play well, and they'll start talking about how they're still in the playoff chase.
I'm pretty excited. I'm not saying I'm rooting for FSU tonight, but if they win, I will have gone 16-4 on the picks for the quarterback club.
And what's that going to get you?
I think it's a haircut or something like that. I don't know what it is. I'll turn it back in. But if I win, I would.
Yeah,
I will turn it back. All right, Robbie. Hopefully, the next time I talk to you, Florida will be 1-1.
Yeah. Well, if they're not, there may be a coaching search coming. So look out.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Okay, Pat. I'll see you.
Okay, it's always great to have Robbie on. He's divorcing him, I think, pretty much. I don't think he's not divorcing the Gators. He's just divorcing Billy. That is our common term. Just divorce them, when you don't like it. And I did want to say one other thing. One of the worst parts about a big game like that, and the Gator fans showed up like it was incredible. That place was packed. And a lot of people said it's the hottest game they've ever been to. That's why I call it a hot mess. But whether it was or not, I mean, I think it's hotter when you're getting your butt kicked, but it was pretty hot. It wasn't hot in my air-conditioned house, so I will tell you that. But the worst part is that all these players are being recruited by both teams, and guess what? Miami players all went down in there and started talking to the recruits, saying, you need to come here. Listen to what we got. Look what they got. You don't want to come play there. Oh, it's just bad. It's just bad. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But let's get to our new sponsor. We have another new sponsor, and this is exciting that we've got all these new sponsors fired up about it. In this case, it is Christine and Stephen Wendig, and they're realtors, and of course, Bossart Realty. Christine and Steve. Steve was out at the Fighting Gator Touchdown Club, and he talked to me about it. And I said, yeah, if you want to get on, we can do this and this. And he said, yeah. So he was all into it, and he also is a member of the quarterback club, so he does both of them. A lot of people do that. They're members of like 2 or 3 clubs. All right, so what we're going to do, it's going to be the Christine and Steve Wendig Realty present the playoffs. And every week, I'm going to give you what my 12 playoffs teams would be today. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters what you've done, but it doesn't matter where you were ranked. Okay, that's I guess what I'm trying to say. All right, so if I'm seeding it right now, I would go Georgia 1, Texas 2, Ohio State 3, and Miami 4. I'm telling you, that Miami team might be really good. I hope they're not. I really do, but they might be really good. 5 would be Notre Dame, which they can't be in the top 4 anyway, so I'll put them at 5. 6 would be Alabama. 7 would be Ole Miss. Scored 66 points this week, and they didn't play anybody. Furman. So Billy, he took it on the chin twice. He played quarterback at Furman. 8 would be Penn State. 9, Southern California. I am moving them up, and they weren't even in my top 25 going in. So I've moved them up to all the way up to number 9. 10, Missouri. I'm going to be curious to see what Missouri does. I mean, their schedule's soft, I know that, but we'll see how they do in the conference schedule. 11, Tennessee. Not good news that Iamaleava looked pretty good the other day, but who knows? I mean, they got a big game coming up this weekend. We'll see how he does. And 12, Michigan, and they're barely in there. I still don't think Michigan's going to be any good this year. But they snuck in there into my top 12. So that is our playoff picture presented to you by Christine and Steve Wendig Realtors. We appreciate them for being our new sponsor. Let's get to some of our old sponsors, but they're not old people. They're very young people. Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Week. And we always love doing the Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Week. We always love eating Adams ribs. That's for sure. Our Gator of the Week this week is Isabel Martin. Now, Isabel Martin has a weird path to get to Florida's volleyball team, and that she was from Germany but played at UNLV, and now she's in Gainesville. So, culture shock. Germany to Vegas, Vegas to Gainesville. She's probably trying to figure out where she is right now. But she was in Colorado this weekend, and she had 40 kills in 3 matches. So that's pretty impressive. In fact, 13 and 4 aces against Northern Colorado, and then 16 kills against Michigan State. So Isabel Martin, you are our Gator of the weekend, brought to you by our good friends at Adams Rib Co. And appreciate Adam Brewer over there for doing a great job. Let us move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. And by the way, Todd, I sent your book. I did find one of those Patrick Young signed books, and your $25 at Leonardo's to your house. You should be getting it today, probably. Or you won't get it today. Tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I got caught up in some things that it took me a while to get it to them. Anyway, all right. So we're going to give you the Thursday night game for this Leonardo's pick, and that will be the game between Baltimore and Kansas City. Kansas City, a 3-point favorite. Brown is not going to play. Hollywood Brown is not going to play in that game, but I would still take Kansas City. But man, Baltimore, we'll see. I'm ready for the NFL to get playing, where I don't really have any rooting interest. So anyway, that is your pick. So it's not too hard to do. Baltimore at Kansas City -3. You got till Thursday afternoon to get it in. Let's move along to our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem moment. And there were a couple to choose. The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today. Okay, well, this was a pretty good Mayhem moment right here. Pittsburgh and Kent State. Look at this kick. Oh, this guy's going to run back on the bounce, and look at this. Oh, he forgot the ball. And it's caught, and this guy's going the other way. Oh, I would have given Florida special teams an F if they had done that. I only gave them a C. The only reason and I know Billy's raving about his special teams, and I'm like, okay, how did they change the game though? I want to see them change the game one time. Well, I guess the ball just ricocheted off that guy's. I don't know what happened there. That is a Mayhem moment. You got to admit with that. And we appreciate Hugh, Cain, Allstate for being a big part of our show, our Hugh, Cain, Allstate moment. Let's move along to our Swamp Games of the weekend. They are brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, and that place was wall-to-wall people Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday too. But I know Friday and Saturday for sure. And they were having a lot of fun over there. Well, especially before the game. That's the thing that's so depressing. Everything was set up so great. You had the SEC Nation here, and I was on with Feinbaum Friday. If you didn't see that, it was a lot of fun. What a setup they had, and then you had this situation where Werfel and Tebow are talking to Mertz, and Caleb Dressel wanders by and shows off his gold medal, and they start playing football in the pool that's there again. Nice, soft, cushiony pool for you to swim in. And then you had the whole situation where it was Spurrier, Tebow, and Werfel talking on there, and Laura Rutledge interviewing him, who's another Gator. It was like everything was lining up so well, and then they kicked it off. They should have just not kicked it off. Anyway, I was thinking about that. This feels too perfect, and then it wasn't. Anyway, the Swamp Games of this week. Obviously, the Thursday game, Baltimore at Kansas City, 8:20 p.m. on ABC. There's no Thursday game in college, so it's Friday before you get to a college football game. We'll give you those on Thursday's show. Tuesday, you have Boston at the Mets, TBS 7:10, and then Wednesday, Cleveland at Kansas City on FS1. It's at 7:40. And also, if you want to watch some WNBA, I watch a little bit of it. Some of you like it. If you haven't had enough of Caitlin Clark, which seems hard to believe anybody couldn't have, but she is playing really well right now. LA at Indiana, 7:00 on the CBS Sports Network. If you get that, I think I do. That's on Wednesday. Okay, those are our Swamp Games of the week. And finally, and we never save them for last, but I did want to save it for last just to wrap up a fun show. I don't know if it was a fun show, but it was a good show. And because I've got a special thing to say to my friend Ken Hesser. So Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. We always love doing this. Of course, Hesser and Kipke, a Gainesville firm, here for your needs in family law or workers' compensation. Call or text Ken and Jennifer 24/7 at 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke, nearly 50 years of combined legal experience and about to celebrate their 5th anniversary in January. Hesser and Kipke. Well, I'll get to number 1, which is a shout out to Ken Hesser. You have clinched the East. I'm sorry. He's a big Phillies fan. I thought my Braves could go in there and do some damage. Nah. Instead, losing extra innings last night in the 11th inning. Got shut out the night before. So it doesn't feel real good right now where Florida it doesn't feel good where Florida is either, where the Braves are. Now you have to almost like shift and go, okay, we're not going to catch them. Let's go try to hold off the Mets. Only a 1-game lead there. But Ken Hesser, your Phillies, I'm waving the white flag. You're too good for us, and we're not good because of all the injuries again. But we got some guys back, and they're doing good things. The Michael Harris catch was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. But anyway, I'm sad about that. All right, so that's number 1, our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number 2, I thought this is, I'm going to use this several times this week, I'm sure. Billy Horschel yesterday finished tied for 23rd in the FedEx Cup, right? He made more than Samford's going to get to come to Gainesville. Now, Samford, they've got 85 players. They've got people that work, and they got coaches. They've got all people that can fly with them. They're getting $550,000. Billy Horschel got I'm sorry, $615,000 for finishing tied for 23rd. Now, when you get into the FedEx Cup, you're going to make a ton of money. You need to qualify. Finish last, you get a lot of money. Scotty Scheffler got $25 million, and he shanked the shot. During the tournament, he shanked a bunker shot and won $25 million. Sanford's sitting there going, man, we could shank bunker shots and get $615. Anyway, Billy, I'm trying to get Billy to come on the show Thursday. I've sent him a text. It's hard for him. He's got a schedule, and I'm sure he's ready to take some time off. But if we can get him on Thursday, we will. If not, we'll definitely have a good guest for you. I promise you that. And then finally, number 3, I did want to mention volleyball. They went out there to Colorado. I want to talk to Mary about that. But they won 3 straight matches. One of them went 4 sets. But they swept Michigan State. I don't think Michigan State's very good in volleyball, but they did sweep them, and that's good. And now they get to come home, and they'll have a home match this weekend. We'll talk about that on Thursday. But good start for them. And we mentioned Isabel Martin. They've got some good – they've done well in the portal. Let's see how they do. I mean, Alyssa Stuckey will be back in a while, but off to a 3-0 start. So that's always good. All right. Did I cover everything? I've got so much written down here. Now we've got so many great sponsors. I'm so happy. You guys are helping. You're making this thing go, all you great sponsors, and we appreciate you. We will be back Thursday with a show. What that show is going to look like, I don't know. I hope it'll be good. I know it will be. We'll have a good guest. I guarantee you that. I just won't be the one I thought it was going to be. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to Zach for, as always, doing a tremendous job here on another Dooley Noted podcast. We'll be back with another show Thursday. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep way back, and I am out of here.